All right, we're back. We are back. We are back. All right, what's up, Miss Debbie?
Hey, Jay, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. You know, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my
Happy
birthday.
birthday to you, James.
All right.
Happy birthday to you, James. Did you get that?
I got it. I got it. Now, for them folks that want to be proper, I have it. I have it.
I have it.
But you know, the folk that just chilling, I got it. I got this.
Okay. All right, Jay, on your birthday. What we gonna talk about today, Jay?
What we are going to talk about, which is very appropriate, you know, for this day being my birthday, is do we value certain days more than others? Like, you know, like birthdays, like anniversaries, Christmas,
Yes.
Easter, New Year's Day. Here come the big one. All right, here come the drum. Brrr. Valentine's Day.
Jay, well, you know what? It's some days that should not and better not be forgotten. You know how we are now. You know how we are. It's some days that should not and better not be forgotten. Now, if you want to keep peace in your home, you need to remember certain days. Yes, you should. Or you're going to be in a doghouse.
What days you think should be remembered?
Well, of course, you know, anniversaries, you know, for those that are married, you know, you want to remember your anniversary day. You want to remember, of course, birthdays. That ranks up there with anniversaries, you know. And of course, days like Christmas. But see, what I understand is that around down these, I'm from the north. I'm from Detroit. So y'all don't celebrate days like Sweetest Day, you know, a day like that, which is actually celebrated up north. So, you know, days like Sweetest Day, Valentine's Day, you know, those days should be remembered. Yeah.
You do say Sweetie Day.
Sweetie's Day, that's right, Jay. Sweetest Day, yes. That's a new one for you.
So is that a day you go around saying, "Hey, sweetie," all day?
That's it.
Is that all I gotta do?
Yes. Honoring and appreciating your sweetheart, your boo, your baby, whatever you call your partner. That's the day you honor them, along with Valentine's Day. So you know that's two separate days now. It's not the same day. It's two separate days.
That's almost like giving two birthdays.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or two Christmases.
Oh yes, and it's serious up now. I mean, it's serious. Sweetest Day is just like Valentine's Day. You go in there and you get the balloons and the stuffed animals and the sweet little cards and candy and all that. Oh yes, it's serious. Relationships, many relationships have been broken up because somebody didn't remember those days.
Wow. Sweetie Day, and just because you didn't.
Yes.
Oh, now I'm just a little curious. What day is Sweetie Day?
Okay.
We want the whole world to know what day is Sweetie Day.
If I remember, see, I've been here a couple of years now, Jay. So it's been a minute, you know. But I think, if I'm correct, it's around October, somewhere in October.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a news flash. October 21st sound familiar?
Yeah, that's about right. Yes, that's about right. Yes.
The sweetest day, huh?
Leaders Day, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We have that day, and I guess that's in correlation with Valentine's Day. So so what other day can you say you just better not forget?
Well, I think the really, really most important days, of course, would be anniversary, your anniversary day, birthdays. You want to be remembered. You want those around you, those that say they love and care about you, to remember you. On those days that I consider important days. Now, somebody might think to differ, with me and say that they all important, but there are certain key days that are very, very important to remember.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I just want the audience to know, and please call in to our show. Our show is called, its number is 931-220-7063. 931-220-7063. All right. We want to hear your view on these valuable days that are valued more than any other day in the 365 days of a year. Okay? And why they are so important. Okay?
Right. So,
right.
Jay, what days do you think are more important than others?
You would have to put me on the spot, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, if a person's married, that would be one to really remember. But I'm not really, even though I'm saying those, that are valuable to remember, but that's in the caterance of someone else. But when it comes, I'm really kind of looking at when it's personal, when it's you yourself trying to value, because that's what the topic is. Do we value some of? And sometimes I think, I'm not getting away from your question. I'm just saying sometimes I think when we value days, it's to hold the hammer over somebody else, to make it valuable rather than what we see as valuable. Okay, there's a direct and indirect. So for me, what days do I count as valuable? For me, I would say, not many. Not many. I don't put a value on Christmas. I mean, you asked me now, and I don't put a value on Thanksgiving. I don't put a value on New Year's Day.
Right.
I don't even put a value on my birthday as to be separate for others. I'm gonna get into that later. I'm gonna share that a little bit later. I have to keep people tuned in. I can't give them the punchline, but I will say I'll go ahead and elaborate on Valentine's Day. As for myself, I'm not talking about what somebody would expect out of me. So for myself, I don't value anything for Valentine's Day because I have two reasons, but the more moral reason, there's a religious side and then there's a moral side. And the moral side, which most people deal with, is because I don't want to just be celebrated and worshiped and adorned and be shown all this extravagant acts of, quote, love and care on one day, and most likely can't get it the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying, if a person, now you asked me, you trying to pull everything out of me before the show get to the end. But anyway, I'm gonna say that a little bit. But I'd rather that if a person was to actually had love and care for me. That's what we do on Valentine's Day. And I have some gifts that I'm gonna bring in just a little bit. But just like I said on Valentine's Day, if we pay attention, what people generally do, they go with the flow of the crowd, and it's like folks sit there and it's because the government has set this day aside to say that it's a day that you are supposed to tell somebody and show somebody that you love them. If you get past that day and you can't do it the rest of the year at no time, and if I'm only holding the hammer over your head to show me on one day, and I'm not expecting it to that same level the rest of the year, I'm being cheated, and I'm cheating myself.
Okay, Jay, so, and while I agree with that, because I share that sentiment exactly, but there are some that really hold those days, to a status. I mean, they really do. Forget one of those days. Everything that we just named off, everything that we just talked about, and probably a couple more that we had named. But think about if you forget, see what happens.
Now, I understand if I forget about somebody else. I won't forget about somebody else, but you asked me what days do I count as valuable, and I don't and I will tell you I'm just gonna stick with Valentine's Day because I got a punchline later on. I'm the kind of person that if I would rather not do what everybody's doing on Valentine's Day, and when the person's not expecting it, out of the clear blue, pop up and do something that they don't even expect, rather than they have this day of expectation that I got to do what everybody else is doing. So just to say I did it on that day, and so many people in these days, if you pay attention, like Valentine's Day, do that, and but the question is, do they keep that same magnitude? Say like in a month, there ain't really nothing. I'll just pick one. Just say like maybe June or August or September, October. Some of those off months, and they just pop up, and they, what is normally done on Valentine's Day, the flowers and the candy and all this, and I mean, if because it rules out the question: are they just doing it because everybody else doing it, or are they really coming from their heart doing it?
Oh, okay.
See, I want the person to know it's really coming from me.
What days do you hold?
I would rather the person really know and not have no kind of doubts. I'm doing it.
Okay. So now it goes back to this point right here that I'm going to make. Okay, so now if your mate is not that the see, that's why it's so important for us to realize and know our mates, or who we're spending time with, or who we're in a relationship with. Do they feel the same way? Could they understand if Valentine's Day roll around and they don't get anything for that day, or show love on that day, or what is considered showing love by getting, the stuffed animals and balloons and the gifts and things like that? Will they understand that? Now, if they're not where you are, or they don't have that same mindset as you, then it's going to be a problem. But now, if they share the same mindset, then it's not, because they do realize and they feel. Your mate feels the way that you feel, is that if you can't honor me on every day, then don't honor me on days that are supposed to be used to honor your loved one. The person that you love, or the person that you care about. You get that?
I got that.
Okay.
All right. I wanna see let's hear from some folks. All right. I have some people in the audience right here that have a little voice on something. All right. Who wants to go first?
Hi, Jay.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Miss Deborah.
All right.
I am full of opinions.
Mm-hmm.
However, I want to hear you two go back and forth a little bit longer because I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Mr. J. And I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Miss Deborah. Because y'all are both making valid points. Now, a little bit later, if I could just add my 2 cents. But right now, I'm only up to a penny and a half, so I have to listen a little bit more.
All right. All right. All right. We're gonna come back. All right. Did that? Yes. Miss Gwen. Okay. All right. So we back on this thing. Um, but I do understand what you're saying, when it comes to the other person. And that is important. I'm not saying that, just because I express what I express, but I express that in the catering of, my value that had to do with me, not what that had to do with someone else, so to speak, Um, and if in relationships, and we have defined relationship, when people normally hear the word, the first thing they want to think is a couple, in some type of romantic association. But relationships cover all fields: mom, dad,
Absolutely.
Child, parent, BBF, which is best friends forever, and church member relationships, business relationships. So that, and basically a relationship is any contact you have with a person. There is an established relationship, even if it's a stranger. So it's though it may not be nothing much anything in common, but there is some type of established relationship. The thing, the thing I want to bring back up, as I was saying, um, it is important, especially like in a couple relationship, if we're talking about this days such as Valentine's or birthdays, anniversaries, um, and even people who are in a committed relationship but not married uh, tend to hold the the dates of anniversaries, such as when they first met, or things that when they both decided to be in a relationship. And guys, y'all watch out, because these ladies, they'll sometimes do that pop quiz on you. And they'll hold it on you, and they'll be like, "You remember what day this is?" And you'll be sitting there, and you best might want to remember what day.
You best might want to, yes.
That day y'all met or y'all got into the relationship. And I'm not saying I'm trying to make an excuse for men, or setting females on this warpath. No, I'm just saying that life has it that that's just the way it is, and men and women tend to think a little differently in many areas. Men don't really consider those times, like when we first met, as strongly as women do. And so there's a reality in life that I say we tend to probably need to face. And in those realities, we tend to make some adjustments along the way.
Okay. Okay. So when you talk about days like that, Jay, and there's been many, I know personally many of people who have honored or celebrate those days however you want to see it. When we first met, our first date, that type of thing. However, personally, I don't consider those that important. You know, that's not important. If I had to make a choice as to, do I want you to remember the day when we first met or our first day as opposed to my birthday, you know, or anniversary day? If I had to make a choice, then I would definitely want you to remember those days as opposed to the other ones. You know, because the truth of the matter is, personally for me, if you have decided to be in a relationship with this person, then, you know, those days, anniversary days, birthdays, those things are going to become a part of who you are as a couple. You remember that because you want the person that you're in a relationship with to know, hey, you know, I remember you on this day, you know, whether it's anniversary or a birthday. I remember you and I love you and I want to honor you, you know, today. But now that goes a long way, Jay, as to what you just said a little while ago about that we should take a notion pretty much to say, you know, hey, I care enough about you to remember those days. Now, it's been many of broken up relationships because these days have not been remembered. And we know life happens a lot of times. You know, you just actually, there can be some cases where you just earnestly and honestly, you know, forget about it, especially if it's coming up. But something should trigger your mindset and say, okay, well, her birthday is coming up or our anniversary is coming up. You may not exactly remember that, look, the day, I hope you do, but just know something, but get somewhere around the day so you can be reminded. Amen. Do you get that?
I heard that. All right. I think one of our guests want to say something.
Well, I did listen. I think I made it from the penny and a half. I might be almost close to my 2 cents. I don't quite have a full 2 cents yet, but I do want to say that the two different points that you guys have been discussing, as I said before, I can agree with both of you, but I find that in my agreeing with what Miss Deborah has said, I find that was something that I did when I was younger. It was earlier in my life. I too grew up in Detroit, and Sweetest Day was extremely important. And yes, if you did not get a Sweetest Day card in the gift, you broke up with that person, because if you weren't their sweetest, they were not worthy of you. We did that. It's a serious thing. However, and Valentine's Day also, Mr. J, just so that you know. However, as I have gotten older, I have found that as far as Sweetest Day, Valentine's Day, and you mentioned a few other things that are considered holidays and worth celebrating, I have found them to be more of traditions that we grew up to have these expectations, that they're not necessarily how we should mark and remember our lives. In agreeing with the part that Mr. J was saying about how he doesn't really mark those days, I find that I am more so like that now as I'm older and have a better understanding of where I am and where I want to be in my life. Personally, I try not to. I am human, but I try not to follow what has been traditionally taught to me. But the reason why I do that is because I have begun to study and to understand better Bible principles. So for me, one day is no more special than another day. But please know, it took me a long time to get there. Oh, he better not have missed my birthday. That was the previous me. Today, I would rather that he treats me as though it were my birthday every day. Because every day that I wake up and open up my eyes, it's a new day of birth for me. And I would like to be celebrated. I'd like to feel that I am special, that I am valued, and that I am honored every day. And I, in return, would like to make you feel special, honored, and valued every day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
I am a work in progress, but that's about where I'm at with my 1.75 cents. I'm not at 2 cents yet, so I'm going to give it back to y'all and listen a little more.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you both.
I enjoyed that comment. All right. So, Miss Debbie?
Yes, Dave. We getting a clear understanding about this thing a little bit now.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the young lady just made the comment, and why I understand too, sister, is that once you get older, those things are really not as important, but and it's funny that we're talking about this because I know when I say adult people that are of age that still to this day celebrate their birthdays as if it was a national holiday. Now that I'm just talking about me. It may not be nobody else's but it's mine that act like their birthday should be a national holiday. Every year I still having these big celebration in honor of them. At 50, 60, 40 years old, going all out, having a big dash, and so that kind of thing sort of it sits in me as if as like a that you might be a little bit too. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're not supposed to celebrate your day, honor yourself on that day. No, that's not what I'm saying. But to just go all out and then get absolutely mad when somebody does not honor you on that day or remember your birthday,
Miss Debbie, I agree with you so much. I was just reminded of a few people that I know that make it a big deal to celebrate their birthday the whole month, not just the day. They don't even want the week. They want the whole month, and they'll proudly tell you, oh, I'm celebrating my birthday this whole month. And they want you to celebrate their birthday that whole month. When you said treating their birthday like a national holiday, a few people clicked into my mind. I just wanted to share that with you. I understand.
So I'm not the only one who know people like that.
Oh no, we have Miss Elaine want to put a little word in there. What you got to say, Miss Elaine?
Good afternoon, Debbie. I got a question. You said when you talk about like Valentine's Day, and people make such a big deal about Valentine's Day. If you tell somebody that you love them every day, and you pick one day, February 14th, and tell them that you love them, man, that ain't love. You just went to the store and picked up me some cheap flowers. I don't need that. I need my flowers every day.
Okay. Hello.
Hey, what if it's can once a month do?
No. No, you don't have to buy me flowers.
Well, we'll get you one flower a day.
You don't have to give me flowers every day, but it's different if you can't tell me you love me every day.
All right.
They don't wither up and die or whatever, but if you open your mouth and physically say that I love you,
all right.
That's better than a flower.
It's better than a flower.
Mr. Lane, are you speaking about flowery words? Flowery words.
Flowery words.
Just shower me with some flowery words.
Flowery words, not sweet nothings, but.
That's an oxymoron.
By the time
I don't get that. A sweet nothing. No, I don't know.
Not a sweet nothing.
Not a sweet nothing.
But flowery words.
Flowery words.
Give
me my flowers every day. Flowery words if you can't, do anything else.
All right, just want to make it clear.
Okay, Debbie. Now what's that 12 dozen of roses on my counter, and you can't tell me you love me? You keep your roses. Because Jesus said that he loved me unconditional. You keep your flowers.
All right. Now, I have a question. That brings some ideas to my head. All right. I thank y'all ladies. Y'all putting it in. All right, now that brings me to a point here. All right. All right, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can hear the organ playing. I hear the organ. The drummers are all kicking in now. All that. All right, here I go. All right. Over in the book of Do What You Want to Do.
Oh my! Oh my!
We might just find a teaching. Over in Do What You Want to Do, chapter 5.
Okay.
All right. And it says there was once these two people. Like the Bible says, there was a man, they never give a name. So there was once these two people. All right, just apply a name. You want to apply a name. And then it says in the book of Do What You Want to Do, chapter 5, that these two people, out of these two people, they were compared, and one was one that flourished. The other person, well, their mate, with words of adornment and flowery words every day. But the other didn't have the ability to speak. But the mate of the other one, who was of the speechless person, wanted the same as she saw from the mate who had a person who could speak. To hear the flowery words. Now remember, this is in the book of Do What You Want to Do. Okay. Chapter 5. Okay. You know, in the It's Your Thing text, book of Do What You Want to Do. Chapter 5.
You better say it.
So this mate of the speechless person had such a desire to hear the words. All right? It wasn't sweet nothings, they were flowery words. But the speechless person, though this person couldn't speak, there was so much action out of the speechless person, but not as much action out of the person who could speak. And later we find down around verse 28 in the book of Do What You Want to Do, chapter 5, in the text of It's Your Thing, that verse, we find that I know I'm preaching now.
That's it.
We find that the one who wanted to hear the words so bad because it was so sweet to the ears began to take upon themselves and spirit of taking it for granted of the things of action from the speechless person, and actually began pulling themselves having issues and problems. Okay? All right? This person would spoiled her with she didn't have to cook because this person, well, I won't say she, I just say this person didn't have to cook. It could be a he or a she. Could cook, cleaned up the house, went to work, and come back, take care of the kids if it was any. Do all kinds of stuff. But never spoke the words. And but the other person, they were good with the words though. And so here we get down to these two. So the question that is to be asked in this book, from looking at these two individuals and their mates, is: should we take it all in through our ears or take it all in through our eyes?
Well, let me see here.
Wait a minute. I'm getting wound up here.
Okay.
And the book says, it's in love.
Okay.
When you can't love no more. Once I was able to speak, but I can't speak no more. Do you still love me? Once I was able to walk with you, but I can't walk with you no more. Do you still love me?
You finished?
You better say it.
All right, I'm finished. Y'all could just send in y'all collection monies. The J Talks Today's Relationship Show. We take our offering online. Credit cards accepted too.
Wow.
All right.
I just can't right now, okay? Okay, so the question is, which would you rather have when it's all said and done? Okay, since you explained it that way, Jay.
In the book, or do what you want to do.
Explain it that way. You remember, you and correct me if I'm wrong. Amen. Hey, look, amen, Jay.
Amen.
Okay. I would rather for you to show me you love me. Okay, so that's the same. We remember that. I remember, and you hear people, used to say that I'd rather for somebody to show me that they love me, because when it all boils down to everything, if it get to a point, and something should happen where the words are not being able to be said for whatever reason. It's only one reason that a person should not be able to voice. Okay, if you're able to voice, it should be voiced. Yeah. But if it comes down to it, where a person is not able to speak, of course, the actions are far more important. Yes, of course, actions. Show everything, because you can show a person that you love them and not say it. But now, however, wait a minute, Jay, don't say nothing yet. But if you have the ability to tell your mate, your family, your friend, or what, hey, look, I love you. Yes, I think you should. You should be able to. Bottom line, you should be able to tell somebody that's close to you that you care about, that you say you care about, and that you love them. that you say you love them, and tell them, hey, look, I love you. I love you, sister. I love you, husband. I love you, wife. I love you, whatever that is. Yes, every now and then, because guess what? Sometimes, every now and then, that might be the thing that needs to be said, because you don't know what a person is feeling, what they're dealing with, what they're going through in a period of a day or whatever, and they may just need to hear those words. So I'm saying, if by all means, if you are able to voice it, yes, voice it. Did you get that, Jay?
I got it.
Okay.
Mr. J, Miss Debbie, this was so fun to me, hearing about the book of Do to What You Want to Do.
Yes.
Chapter 5 in that It's Your Thing text. I wasn't sure what
around
verse.
The 28th verse.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because
I read all the way down to the 28th verse.
I have a spot missing verse.
Yeah, I read all the way down to the 28th verse.
And Brother Jay, I hope you don't mind. Sister Debbie, I hope you don't mind. I did enjoy the book of Do What You Want to Do. It's Your Thing text. Chapter 5, verse 28. But I would like to talk about, the book of Exodus. And I'm thinking more along the line of chapter 20, verse 17. When you talked about the two couples, and one couple was looking at the other couple and seeing how that couple was able to, I don't know if it's the man speaking to the woman with the flowery words, and the woman could not hear, or the woman speaking to the man and the man could not speak. I get confused. I have to read up on that book of Do What You Want to Do. But I do know that as far as I'm concerned, in my relationship, I want to do like Exodus says, and I don't want to covet my neighbor's house, wife, ox, maid servant, man servant. I don't want to covet what they have. So I'm glad that they have the relationship that they have, and I hope it's good for them. But if in my relationship I'm not able to speak, which of course it wouldn't be me because y'all know I'm talking a lot. But if it was him and he could not speak, that would be okay with me too, if he was doing what he could do. Because sometimes when they speak, and now I'm going over to the book of Ephesians, and that would be chapter 5, 6 through 14, where it tells you, let no man deceive you. Don't be deceived with the bad words. So sometimes when they tell you those words, and I know I did ask for my flowery words earlier, but sometimes everybody that speak to you with these flowery words, they do not mean it. So I hope that there's a spirit of discernment when you hear, if you're able to hear these flowery words. But now going back to me saying that if you can't give me my physical flower, I'd rather have a flowery word. I hope that I was good at choosing a mate that meant the words when they said it. I would really hope that. But again, I'm gonna have to read up some more of this book. Do What You Want to Do, and I need to find out a little bit more about this It's Your Thing text, chapter 5, verses 1 through 28.
That's right, 1 through 28.
Okay, well, thank you, Brother Jay, and thank you, Sister Debbie, for that. I do enjoy learning new information. Thank you very much.
So, Sister Debbie, what happens if you do forget somebody's birthday? What should the consequences be?
See, it goes back to what the sister just said about knowing, who you involved with, knowing who you in relationship with. Is that understandable? Because things happen where you forget. Am I trying to simmer it down? No, I'm just saying it happens. So you go get mad, divorce your husband, kick your spouse out the house, make him sleep in the key room because he forgot your birthday, because he forgot Valentine's Day. But now don't get me wrong. That's not to say you may not be a little peeved about it. Okay? understand, and that comes to what relationship, what kind of relationship do you have with the man you are involved with, or the woman you are involved with, or married to? What kind of relationship do you have? Now, if he's the type of person, and I'm not just saying he, but I'm like, men seem to have the most of this forgetful problem. They forget a whole lot more than we do most of the time. I mean, I'm not saying this all the time. I'm just saying for the most part, men forget. Okay, so now, if he forget, are you gonna just kick him out? You just gonna be through if he forget, or if she forget? So that leads you to say, okay, well, what am I really in the right place? Am I doing it with a right mind? Am I in this relationship with a right mind? So what do you think, sister? If somebody, if your mate, your husband, the man you're involved with in a relationship with, if they forget, how would you handle it?
Well, so Debbie, that happened to me actually. I his birthday.
Oh, okay.
I'm not married to him.
I see.
I'm not married to him.
Okay.
I've never been married, but I did forget his birthday, and he made a big deal. The most important day of the year, you forgot.
Wow.
But this is my thing. It's just another day to me. I don't celebrate my birthday. If God is good enough to allow me to wake up every day, that's where I say thank you, Lord. You ain't my God. I make your birthday bigger than my God. So the relationship is over, but you know what? You ain't bigger than God. With all these people crying and whining about a birthday, get up Sunday morning, put a suit on, and up in somebody's church.
Okay.
That with that response, that brings me to this area of thought. And I know we've been talking more of the romantic or those days that deal with couples or romance in those areas. But there are other days and that can correspond to what Miss Lane just mentioned. And two in particular that I tend to focus on quite a lot. Those days being Christmas and primarily New Year's Eve. Um, and we've spoken on it on the show a few times. I won't say several, but a few times on early shows. So happened it came up in the shows that was related or those topics, but it also relates to this topic. As the question was asked in the title heading, do we value certain days more than we value other days of the year? Okay. And I find it uniquely interesting that on December 31st, New Year's Eve, which we know is New Year's Eve, leading to the midnight hour, basically saying 12.0001, all right, leading up to that moment, and it normally within the 3 to 4 hours up to that moment. A lot of times and I know folk gonna say, there you go, picking with churches again in the religious field, but we really deal with a lot of facts here. But you find this in the club too, in party places. But the reason I say more so in the religious and church field, because this is a place of expectancy of how people should have a way of catering to this area more so than the areas of the club or something like that. Even though you will hear this same conversation that I'm getting ready to bring up, but what we hear leading up, those few hours leading up to the very hour, is especially at the hour of midnight, Oh, thank God for let me see another new year. And you hear all this praise and giving God thanks. Even folk ain't never said the word God all year, saying it on that night. And they and you will hear it so strong. And but then if you pay attention, if you really pay attention, the effort and the energy that people put, the mass of energy that people put into the praise of New Year's Eve at the midnight hour. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying the mass. When you look at the percentage of the mass, okay, if it's not you, you ain't got to worry about it. But the mass of people who put this energy, and then again I said they ain't gotta be church folk. You hear it in the clubs too. People be turning it up, raising the bottle, saying the same thing. Thank you, Lord. We made it through another year. But you don't hear that the rest of the 364 days. Because here's the real truth. It is just another day that the Lord has made, as well as all of them. And like my birthday today is 1 year, which is a new year for me. If you just count your birthday, that is a new year because it's exactly 1 year from the day you were born, which is your new year. And so, and actually each day, that new day we come in is exactly 365 days. Come midnight, a new year. But we don't praise it like it's a new year. But if Paul says, I give each day, as as though it was the first or the last. I praise. That's what Paul says. That for church folk. All right. I say. So, but we got a little comment. We got a comment over here.
Well, yeah, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I think it relates back to my very first comment earlier tonight, because that is the tradition in which we were raised and taught. Those people at the club, just like those people at the church, they are saying the same thing because that is what they were taught. It is tradition. But when we learn better, we're supposed to do better. And once you begin to, once you get that pull towards the Bible and you start studying, you'll see that Jesus himself says, these are his words, in Mark 7, verses 7 through 9. Howbeit in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandments of God, that you may keep your own tradition.
Right.
Okay, so unfortunately, it's our culture, especially the black culture in the black community, to just follow tradition after tradition after tradition. And if you're in a family that's steeped deep in tradition, when you break away, when you learn better and break away, they look at you like you crazy. Something's wrong.
That's right.
With you.
That's right, sister.
Yeah, that is.
If your family is really, really heavily steeped in church and you don't go to church on New Year's, but you go to the club, they will look more kindly on you for being at the club than they would for you saying New Year's is not a special day or Christmas is not a special day. Okay? Because it's like I said, when you learn better, you do better. As you learn more, you can perform better, being the best person you could be, being a true Christian and worshiping God. Because as far as Christmas is concerned, like I said, when you learn better, you do better. Christmas, Jesus wasn't born on Christmas. Why are we celebrating his birthday on Christmas? Why are we celebrating his birthday? There is no place in the Bible that says when Jesus was born. They got that December 25th to make the people happy because they were changing the religion over, and that was going to make them lose one of their holidays where they had big parties. Now, I'm not talking what I think, I'm telling facts, historical facts. And when you start talking that, some people will look at you, like I said earlier, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? Who do you think you are? But there is nowhere where it says that Christ was born on Christmas.
Right, you're absolutely right. There's nowhere in the Bible that says that. Actually, the Bible, and I'd rather say the Torah rather than the Bible. But we can use the Bible since that's what so many people are familiar with rather than the Torah. The Torah is what the Bible, I mean, the Bible comes from the Torah. The Torah is the original writings, people out there, the scrolls and the original writings. So in everything that's in the Torah, you will not find in the what we know as the Bible because they did not put everything that's in the Torah, the original writings, in the Bible. So, but even if we just use the Bible, um, it does not say. Somebody might be asking the question, might be hearing this show. Well, December 25th, and they might just be coming to a realization hearing the statement. If it's not his birthday, then when is it? It doesn't say. There's nowhere in the Bible or the Word, not even in Torah, does it say the specific date of when he was born or his birthday. But it does give you it gives you a lot of information. In other words, statistics, dealing with culture. It talks about the time of the year. When it talks about, the shepherds were putting away the livestock before winter hits. So it's not in December because they had to get the livestock in before winter hit. So basically, with all the statistics, all the information in the Bible, like I said, of everything, it puts Christ's birthday somewhere between early and mid fall, somewhere in that vicinity. But we don't have a precise date. We do know it was centered around the time of the festival, but we don't have an exact date. But all the clues uh, puts it around that time, but which means it's definitely not in December. Okay, that is a total rule out. Just as there've been several other things that's been taken out of context, twisted, and became a foundation as to how we should serve, or look at things or perceive things, according to religion that has been manipulated, and which if I was to say those things, we'd be going into a whole nother show. But I would advise though for people that we do have a show that's in our library, to go and take a look at that. It's called Truth or Traditions, with Jim Staley as the narrator. Uh, it's a video, and there are two presentations. Just go throughout our library, and you can find it in our media forums and also on our website. Jay Talks Today's Relationships. And like I said, listen to the information of facts, and all I can say, you would have to come to your own conclusion. But when you have facts presented to you, if somebody said the fact that, they look up and they see white and its clouds are white, or if they're gray and they say, well, the clouds are white, you look and you see that they're white, and you say, no, they're black, or you want to just tell yourself that they're any color except what it is, and you actually know what it is, and it's clear to see that, then you're deceiving yourself. But you do have that right, because you have free will to choose to do that. However, just remember, with your choices comes responsibility.
Absolutely.
And the choices you make also put you and present you to you a road that you will live by, and of reaping and sowing, or of blessings or cursings.
That kind of makes me think about where it tells you that, that Jesus was saying, if you abide in my word, then you are truly disciples of mine, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So when you begin to get into that book, when you begin to study it, take it in, abide in it, then you are truly his disciple. You will know the truth. Sometimes it hurts to know, oh my goodness, I've been doing this wrong all my life. Or I mean, it can be really hurtful. But the truth shall make you free.
Absolutely. And sister, just to comment, on that, and you just made a perfect point when you're talking about that verse. I have heard it said so many years, and people quote that verse wrong. The truth will set free. That's not what that verse says.
That's not what that's right. That's right.
Yes. Yes.
They got that from Flip Wilson.
That's not what that verse says.
Yeah, that's what Flip would say.
The truth shall make you free.
It got stuck with folks.
Yes.
Yeah. But it says make. And making means anything you make. It's just say, a picture, whatever. It is a process. It's a process. Because in making anything, you have a start to the finish of making it. No matter what, you make dinner, you start from the ingredients to the finished product. It's always a process. And when you use the word make, it means a process. Set is instantly. You just open a cage to let a lion out. You set them free. That's instant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's instant.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
And many times when people are, quote, thinking they're set free, you don't know what be unleashed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You better say it.
So, but as we've been talking about the topic, do we value some days more than other days of the year? And it really is an interesting thing, because we do on many instances, and as our guest Miss Gwen had pointed out, we've been molded, I believe, to a certain way of living, traditions, and we just actually have been brought to the point that we are similarly brainwashed into doing things, and when a person's brainwashed, they do it with no thought. And so, as you said, Miss Debbie, people get put out, get mad, they break up, because those days. And I think you asked that question: is it really worth it? And this person, just because they might miss it, may be doing things that your eyes could be seeing throughout the whole year leading up, and that you know, if they didn't do nothing, they've done all this. If you were to reflect, this one thing over everything else. So if that's how your scale is weighted,
Yes.
all right, all right. As we know that is what's called a con man scale or a tainted scale. All right. Um, you just might be deceiving yourselves. All right, Miss Green.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, Mr. J and Miss Debbie, for allowing me to join you guys today because I'm getting ready to step out. But I just wanted to say that on the topic today, I sounded a little passionate about it. And the reason is because I used to be that girl. I used to be that exact girl. As a matter of fact, if my ex-husband were to listen to this radio, to this program, he might call in and tell a few things on me. But that's the reason why I said, as I learned better, I now do better. But no, I used to be that person. Oh, you better not forget, because that meant you didn't love me. Oh, you don't know the day that you first met me, what I was wearing, what I said, where we went, what song was playing on the radio. I was that girl. I'm older and I'm wiser now. I have learned better, so I hope to be doing better. And if you guys ever invite me back again, then maybe I can introduce y'all to my new husband.
All right now.
So thank you all for allowing me to be on the show today. I've got to bow out though.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. J. Thank you, Miss Debbie.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, Debbie, I'm getting ready to leave too, because I'm headed back to North Carolina in the morning. So just pray for traveling grace and mercy. But I would like to say this. Sometimes people put so much in front of God, and then we go on traditional. But if we could, that's just like the Bible. People will quote stuff that it might be different from what the Bible actually say, because they going on what somebody tell them. So I say pick up the Bible and apply it to your life. You read the word for yourself so you can get to know your God. And when it comes down to a relationship, just make sure you seek God first and pray about the kind of relationship that you want. Because as for me, I had to come to a place in my life where I would put everything before my God. I mean, everything came before my God, relationship. But see, we serve a jealous God. So we have to be careful about what we put in front of our God. And see, as, being grown and with an adult child, I had to learn that, God now is the head of my life. So it doesn't matter about if I forgot his birthday or whatever. But I learned to just tell him, you're not bigger than my God. Maybe God allowed me to forget your relationship because maybe we weren't equally yoked. I don't know. But whatever it is, we have to learn to seek the kingdom of God first, and then he'll direct wherever else we're going to go in life. So you have a great night, and I'm going to bail out on you and Mr. J. And happy birthday, Mr. J.
Woo, 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 woo. All right, Miss Debbie, what you got to say? What do you have to say to the folks before leaving on out of here?
You know what, Jay? And my sentiments exactly to the two hosts that you had there with you. I mean, it all comes with maturity. Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it all comes to growing. Now, if you allow yourself to be open to the growth, and a lot of times with growth, there's a pain in the process. Did you get that, Jay? There's pain in the process. If you allow yourself to grow and mature, then your eyes can be open to the reality, to a new reality. Okay, you get that? To a new understanding of things. And you realize what's really, really important, Jay. That's what I say.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it's left up to me to try to make an exit out of here. Okay. this is what I want to, I'm hoping that people would have taken or received from this show tonight. And I appreciate everybody's patience. And due to the delay of the show, but those that are listening, you know that you can pass the word on. You can always catch an archive of the show on all the media forums, Facebook, Twitter, a couple of more. We also have our website, JTalks Today's Relationships.com. Okay, so you could catch any of the archives. You can also go to Ustream. .com and find us on the J Talks Today's Relationship Show. Okay. Um, what I hope that people would have gathered or perceived out of this show tonight and this topic: do we value some days more than we do other days of the year? Um, is this, yes, realistically, society does say or does display that there is a vast, strong mass of people that really put a strong weighted value on days, primary days such as Valentine's Day, their birthday, Christmas, um, mostly those 3 days more than the other ones, because those are days of reception for attention. Days of reception for attention. In other words, those are days that people tend to look for someone to display affection towards them. The other days are that tend to be valued, or Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, um, basically like holidays. Or I'm sorry, I failed to say anniversary in the days of reception, but all the other value days are more holidays, and they tend to have a value, but not so much looked at as days of reception. But they're valued, and the way that they're most of the time valued are as if those days tend to display more value that of service. I call them days of service because they it's tend to look at well, I made it to New Year's Day, so to another new year with a different calendar day. So I value this day more than I value June 15th or November 6th, or I value that day because I'm still living. Okay, or I'll value this Thanksgiving also because I'm still living, and it's a day that is giving me an opportunity of service, that to enjoy life on another day. But rather, so we tend to fail to recognize that each day that you allow to have breath is really as valuable as those service days that we tend to value, because it is still another day that has given you the opportunity of service of life in throughout the year. And but and just like the days of affection, or receiving affection, um, well, there are some people who put so much energy and catering to holding someone for replying and giving of affection on those few days, and it's nothing but a few days. I mean, you could count them if you're qualified to say anniversary. Well, that's one. Well, we know there is Valentine's Day. We know there is a birthday, and we know that there is the holiday Christmas, which we did explain. That's not Christ's birthday, but it is a holiday. But it's a holiday that people look for get to be flourished with gifts. Okay, so they look to be given attention on these days, and so the 3 or 4 days, if you qualify for the fourth one, um, they're out of 365 days. Those 3 or 4 days leaves, at least 361 or 362 days in the year, depending on which ones you qualify for. And if you can be granted a satisfaction of being of another person just only meeting those days, and don't really have a set value on any other day of the balance of the year. This may hurt, but the real truth is, what that says is, you may not be worth much. If you don't think that's all, if you really think that that's all it takes, at least these people to meet those days, then you might not be worth much, because the quality of your worth is measured by the expectation of what you expect to receive. So if you only expect to receive that little bit, and they can stay in other words, you'll kick them out, you'll break up with them, but you won't break up with them for the other 360 some days. If they don't display that. Y'all hear where I'm going? So, all right. So as I said, the quality of your worth is also measured by the value of your expectation. So if they only have to mainly, as I said, mainly, without dispute, have to just be able to stay indoors and stay on the in crowd by meeting those certain days, which is a very few. All of it's your choice, because you do have free will, but you might want to recheck that thing. Because you might want to recheck that thing. You might want to recheck that thing, and and anytime you want to borrow my book in the "It's Your Thing" version, I'd advise you to read all the chapters in "Do What You Want to Do," especially chapter 5, 1 through 28. And I think I'm finished with my sermon for the night. But I'll leave this last thing with y'all also. I want to extend a very warm and honest appreciation for all the birthday wishes that has come across the media, that have been text and message and call in, wishing me a happy, merry, joyful birthday. I appreciate it. Don't think I'm not appreciative of it. I really am appreciative. It's a difference between being appreciative of something and expecting. I did not expect, I never expect for anybody to make a call to me, because yes, it's my birthday, but the thing I'm thankful for on my birthday, that I was able to see another day, and that God's grace shined upon me, and I don't even expect God to grant me the next day, but if He does, that's another gift on another day that I can say, Thank you, Lord. I appreciate what you've done. That's what I'm saying to all the fans out there that have shown their love. I appreciate you for your love and all the care and all your support. And it's not that I expect it, because sometimes when you expect it and it doesn't happen, you get bent out of shape. So if not one call, not one message, not one post ever came in, I have nothing to be upset about, because my love for everybody is genuine, and that's keeping it real on the Talks Today's relationship show. All right, we out.
All right.